us, Julie. As always, the co-founder here at Partner Driven, the lady behind all the deals with Peter Vexelman. But Julie, if you want to kind of introduce Chad and Jerry and tell us a little bit about what we got going on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to be interviewing Jerry and Chad. They're a couple of our partners here at Partner Driven. We've done a few deals with them. But the reason why I brought them on tonight, also they have extensive experience in real estate investing. So what I would like to do is I always love trying to share knowledge with everybody here. So my hopes is that you learn from some veterans in this business. But as you're popping on, let me know exactly where you are located. I am in North Georgia. Put it in the chat for us.
If
So
you
we
look
can get to
below,
know you.
if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat button. That's how we're going to interact tonight, so we can get to meet you all, get to know you all a little bit better. After the interview, what we're going to try to do, since we keep it around an hour for these sessions for respect of Julie, Jerry, Chad, Scott, as well as you all's time, is we'll have a Q&A at the end. So we'll make sure that we get all those questions answered so that you guys can ask away. But Julie, it looks like we got Charlie from Cleveland, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, Chad, obviously in North Indianapolis, Linda from Tennessee, Matt from Jacksonville, Florida, Adam from Greenville, South Carolina. We got people from all over dialing in, which is always fun to get to see just exactly where everybody's calling from as we're doing these calls and we're getting to meet these partners.
Yeah, Riverside, Riverside, California, South Louisiana. I'm heading there Friday. Junith, Connecticut, Brooksville, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona. So glad that you guys are, ladies and gentlemen, are here. Ohio. We'll get started here in just a minute. Hey, Kristen, whenever I'm interviewing, can you make it 2 big boxes, please? Do you know how to do that?
I can figure it out.
Okay. That way, whenever I'm asking the questions, they're not little tiny boxes. But so glad that you decided to join us tonight. So let's get started. So I would really love to recognize Chad is the gentleman there in the light blue shirt, and you've got Jerry there in the background with the black shirt. So all right, guys, tell us where are you guys located? Kind of what's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, for sure. So we are north of Indianapolis, northeast, about 25 miles from Indianapolis proper. So in a city called Anderson, Indiana. Population, what, 50,000 or so? Yeah, about 50,000. But we're sitting around the fringe of Indianapolis, so.
Nice. You know what I get a lot of questions about is people will say, well, golly, like Anderson, Indiana is really not that big, right?
It's an old GM town. So it was a big GM town back in the 60s. And all the plants have left. And I mean, it's, yeah, not big like Indianapolis. No, it's not that big.
Yeah. And people from towns like that will say, Julie, like, where's the hot markets in real estate? And like somebody like you could care less about that, right?
I mean, if we can make money at it, that's all I care about. And so, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of deals to be done no matter where you're at. We know this market very well. As you know, we've got 200 plus rentals. So we've been in the real estate game for, 10 plus years. So, but we make a living in this market and it's been a good market to us. So.
Well, he said that so nonchalantly, but 200 rental houses. Did you guys hear that? Yeah. Okay, so I know here at Partner Driven, we do fix and flips. We basically any type of real estate transaction where we're kind of turning money, whereas rental houses is more of a cash flow situation in hopes of building equity throughout the years. So what kind of got you in the rental side of things? And what are some things that you love about of owning rentals?
Well, I mean, rentals can be a headache, that's for sure. But we started investing in them. I've always been an entrepreneur. I sold a business, I guess, probably 8 or 9 years ago, and then sold another one recently. And so the whole time we just invested in rentals. It was something that was passive, and I mean, there are headaches, but we felt we could get the right management, set it and forget it. And it worked. I mean, I know people have different, they're in the stock market or they're into, crypto or whatever else. It's just, we were comfortable with it. It was tangible. And so we started adding them while we were working regular jobs or building a business, but working another job. And then we dove full time after I sold my last company. So
Oh, so you just fell in love, huh?
we like it. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of challenges, but um, either you're into it or not. And we are just like you guys are. That's one of the things that we like about partner driven is, I mean, obviously that we can talk. We're going to get more in depth into the funding and so, but a big part of it for us is the community, and when we're experienced, it's not like, and we were doing fix and flips, as you know, before we partner with you guys. But having the partner driven community is valuable to us because just like we were joking before we got on here, Jamari and I were on Circle, which is the closed platform for all partner driven members, talking about exterior design choices, which kind of weird discussion, but I mean, it's good to have that network to come around you.
Yeah, actually, I put a lot of things on there when I'm trying to figure out what color to do something because, like, to me, why would you not ask for everybody's advice? You know what I mean? Because, like for instance, I had that porch that I posted. I was 1000% going to paint that porch black. You know what I mean? Because I had black windows on the house, and everybody's like, "Don't do black, do the white," and it really looked a lot better than what my idea was. So, I love the idea of that. So there's a lot of people that we tend to attract, one of which is people that are in construction. Okay. Is there anybody on this call that is in the construction business? Let me know in the chat. Like maybe you're a handyman, a plumber, an electrician, maybe you're a general contractor, painter, roofer. Is there anybody on this call that maybe is that type of individual that we tend to attract? Let me know in the chat. So we got a general manager of a roofing company.
Yep.
GC.
There's a couple contractors.
Yep. You got a bunch on here tonight. So, people may not know this, Chad, but Chad owns and operates a pretty robust construction company, right? This construction company manages does all the work for his rentals, does a lot of other things. There's a lot of people on here that I'm assuming, because I've just talked to so many people that haven't kind of been able to bridge that gap from working for somebody else as to doing it themselves. Like I believe with you two guys, like you could really help a lot of people tonight that are maybe stuck in that day-to-day grind of building somebody else's dream. Right. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that matters so much?
I think one of the things, that work hand in
I hate to ask you, Jerry, but do you mind to scoot up closer? I just can't hear you.
I think one of the things that works hand in hand with Chad and I is you have to have defined roles of what you're looking for and what you're doing. Now, we both are looking for houses, we're both looking for flips, but you have to have defined roles so that we can break that down. And I've been an entrepreneur for about 40 years. Chad and I have been great friends, like brothers, for the last 10 or so years. And one of the things that we find are that people that are entrepreneurial are usually looking for a way to exit what they're doing and also start up something. So one of the things that Chad has taught me is we find them. A lot of people say, well, somebody was on the call last night and they were saying that they actually didn't love the business. Well, there's something about it that you're going to love, or you're not going to grind at. There's going to be something there that really brings you in and you look for it every day. And so for us, the adrenaline it's in the chase. it's in the chase of finding the deal and then getting them under contract. And so for me, I remember the first deal that I found and brought it to Chad and thought there was no way, but I already told him I'd go look at it. But what I can say is for our contractors, if you get them under contract and then, I just kick it over to Chad that, hey, let our contractor get over here, look at it tomorrow. We'll put some numbers together and see if that's going to work. That's where the magic is, and the collaboration of working together. You got to have. There's got to be value in not doing it yourself. And as you were saying, who you're the expert on the flipping and the real estate. You've helped us on a couple designs that have helped us sell the house. And Chad, he was half kidding, but when he was talking to Jamari, talking about the designs of a house and what you have, the things that you're watching on HGTV. Everybody's looking for what Mama wants on there, and I'm going to tell you, my wife doesn't want the same thing that his wife or that you want. They want different. They want to put their own stamp on it. So get it very basic, something there that's going to stand out. And that's why I refer to the contractor. Then I'll just let him tell you. He goes in and then he has an idea, but he always runs it back by me of, hey, what do you think?
So what he's really saying, I'm going to sum it up. He's saying we've both done the construction side. So I see all the background here. And we both know how unglamorous it can be at times. So Jerry's saying he defers to me to take the losses when we miss the bids, but he's right here with me for the profits. No, I'm teasing. To your original question about, why would you rather be an entrepreneur as opposed to work for others? I mean, there are a lot of people that are wired to be great supporting cast members to others. I've worked with them long years, and why do you want to work for yourself? I mean, everybody looks at the upside. Well, I want to work for myself so I want to make more money. Okay, well, there's a lot of work to making more money. I mean, I prospect daily. I mean, and we've got a fairly decent sized business. I prospected for 3.5 hours Saturday after doing a call with another PD member that had some questions about a deal she was looking at. And so it's got to be in your blood, right? I mean, yeah, the construction part's one side of it, and that's a hugely important side. And it's a place that you can really let a deal get away from you if you don't either run it or manage it properly. You know that because you and I talk shop a lot. I mean, Julie knows the ins and outs of the construction side just as well as anybody else I talk to, probably better. And so, but I mean, it's the deal, right? Why do you want to sit when you could take a day off maybe and make 300 cold calls or go drive for dollars or put a mailer together? And so that's the personality in my mind. That's the personality that I look at when I say, yeah, I love having the construction background, or I'm a finance guy. I've got an MBA from Indiana University in finance, so I'm a finance guy by nature. But that's not what drives this business. It's the overwhelming desire to build the business and do deals. Mm-hmm. And that's the part.
It's funny that you say that. I'm going to get back to the construction thing because I want to get to a couple of the comments on here. But you know what's funny? When you love the art of the deal, like with what Jerry's talking about and what you're talking about, it never gets old. Like, I kid you not, like there's no telling how many deals I have talked about over the last 15 years. I mean, thousands upon thousands. And every time that Jerry calls me and says, I got a good deal, I still get a butterfly in my stomach. I can't, do you know what I mean? Like, I still get excited about it.
Sure.
And I think that, like, that's important, right? But the thing is sometimes you don't know that feeling until you make that step forward, right? So one thing I know though that people can resonate is before you had the 200 rentals, before you had a construction company, before most of the time before you're an entrepreneur, there's this like weird this like point in life, right, where you have to go out on a ledge. and you're standing on the ledge and you either step forward or you step backwards. Right? Like
Yep.
for the gentleman that says I work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Listen, I'm not too far gone to where I don't understand, especially understand that you got bills to pay, right? You got a family to take care of. What do you say to those people that are, and I think you hit on it a good bit there, Jerry, that you do have to love it a little bit, right? You've got to have that why in your life. But what do you say to those people that maybe their family doesn't believe in them, right? Their spouse doesn't believe in them. And
Sure.
sometimes the people you love the absolute most are not your greatest heroes. I hate to say it. What do you
I think
say
that's
to these
important.
people?
Right. If you look at things, my family comes from a long line, the lineage of GM tool makers and managers from my dad, my brother, my grandpa, my father-in-law, and so when I got out of college, they had a job already lined up for
Yeah.
me, and all I had to do was just go and tell them when I'm going to start, and I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be a production supervisor over painted bumpers doing the crash test. And I said, Dad, I've been telling you for the 6 years it's been taking me to get through college, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this for 40 years. And everybody thought that I was crazy for not taking that, not taking the guaranteed pension, not taking, the health insurance and all that. And now, as it's turning, and some of those that have gone before me have passed, but the family still turns around, and now they're like, "Hey, do you have a guy that can do this?" Or, "Hey, can you give some information to what we're going to do here?" And so sometimes you do fight that, because you have to remember this: some people are task oriented, and so they're going to do the tasks that you give them. But that's okay. Those people can still make it here in real estate, because guess what? PD gives you the tasks that you need to do on a daily basis if you want to succeed. If you want more out of life, and want more and more control of your destiny, partner driven, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. They've already given you the playbook.
Yeah. I mean, to add on that, I mean, is it scary to, like, my first business I started? I worked, like, I'm a finance guy, so I worked for a mutual fund company. I was a trader and a portfolio manager in the fixed income world. Pretty good job for a 20-some-year-old kid. Had a wife, all the stuff that goes with it, having a new baby, and came home and told her I just didn't want to do this forever. And found a little business east side of Indianapolis. She was very supportive, and left and bought that business, and then eventually sold it to a financial firm, and the rest was history. But there's a lot of ups and downs in between there. But to say it wasn't scary, that's crazy. I mean, now after you sold your first business and you're looking what to do next, well, it wasn't quite as scary, because and then after you sell the second one, it becomes less and less scary, just because you're not worried about paying the bills. But to think it's not scary for anybody, but I mean, you either know or you don't. Like, I can't do this the rest of my life, even though this is a good gig. I want to do something for myself, and if you're wired that way, it's hard to unwire that.
Yeah. Like one thing we were talking before this call, and I like even kind of mentioned it, like I'll tell everybody on here, I'm not somebody that doesn't work, right? Like I love working, right? The difference is I love what I do. Sure, it sucks sometimes. Sure, things happen. That's life, right? But here's what I love is the freedom of time, and where I'm at. Like when we were talking before this call, you're like, "Hey, I'm going to Florida." If you worked somewhere, you couldn't go to Florida and still run your business. Like I'm going to Louisiana for 2 months this week, and I'm able to go back and forth and still make money. What has, like, making those decisions, what has that allowed you guys to afford? And I'm not talking about money. What has that been able to afford you being an entrepreneur, or maybe even being in real estate?
Well, I think if you look at both of us, well, I mean, Jerry and I share a lot of common ground. We're both entrepreneurs outside of real estate. So, that was kind of an original connection. Jerry is very hands-on with his grandson, who's the same age as my middle son. We've both coached. I coached his grandson this summer with my son. So it affords us the freedom. Like, I've got to pack up and go to Cleveland for a rugby game Friday. I can do that. That being said, I don't want to misrepresent it, and you didn't. You represented it properly. You have the freedom of where you're working from. That doesn't mean that as soon as you jump into it, it's, hey, I'm an entrepreneur now, I can just go flutter around. No, it's, if I know I'm going to go Friday, then I better put in 2.5 hours last Saturday if I want my pipeline to look like it needs to look to be successful. So I have the freedom to control my time. That doesn't mean I spend less time working. That's absolutely false.
Yeah.
But to have the freedom to do the things of our families, travel. Like I said, I'll be in Key West here in a few weeks with my 18-year-old son and some of his friends. So,
Are y'all going fishing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna have. You better send me pictures.
I will. I'll send them to you. Yeah, I'll definitely send them to you. But but that doesn't mean though that knowing that they're teenage boys and they get up at 9 or 10 or whatever times they crawl out of bed, that just tells you got to start at 5 or 4. I'm doing emails, and Peter and I talk a lot of mornings because he's an early morning person, real early, and so am I. I've got a standing pickleball game at 5 a.m. every morning. So I mean, it's just and that's part of the community that's cool. Is I pretty much can set my watch and I'm going to get something most, if not a lot of mornings from Peter, because he's up and at 'em and using that morning time wisely. So I think that's kind of some of the. I mean, you can always talk about material things it affords, and that's obviously great. But yeah, I mean, controlling your time and not being under somebody else's time requirements is hugely important.
Yeah. And one thing too, like that I wanted to say with Jerry, because him and I are a little bit more in the same boat with grandkids, right? Which, by the way, is amazing for those of you that haven't had them yet. Just wait. But the thing is that when my daughter was younger, right? By the way, my daughter works at Partner Driven. I guess we like to keep it in the family. I missed so many things. So whenever, like it's awesome to hear like Jerry, or you to say that Jerry gets to spend time, with his grandson. What does that time allowed you to be able to do, Jerry?
I've talked about this with a lot of folks. A lot of times people say, I want it. So the first thing is I wanted my boys, who are both grown and married and have children, I wanted them to follow their passion, and no matter what it was going to be, and it was teaching and coaching, and and so they both do that, and so they do okay, but they've never had it where they were able to push it up over that. But I don't want them to do something. I mean, their passion's there, stay there and do that. And then I've got you on the rest. You guys are following the line. It's not like I'm just giving it to you. You guys are working. You're getting it done. You're showing up. And so, for me to take off and take the grandson to go someplace, look at him, and watch that, and now realize that we're a year away from high school. You look at a lot of things there that are in the pales, and now here's a difference where your husband is a lot like my wife on this. And I always say Chad is really the only other person that cares because we have a bottom line every month. My wife knows that tonight I'm on a webinar with Partner Driven, and she knows I'm excited about it. What she doesn't know is what we're talking about or how it works, or that we pick up. She heard me say, hey, she'll say this morning, what's your day look like? And, you know, hey, don't forget, I'm going to do this. We got to go by and check this house out. And we're going to try to get this house under contract. She didn't hear those things. She heard them, but her thought process is, I've been trusting you for so long. I know you're going to get that part done. So that allows her to spend time as an only child with her 94-year-old dad today. We actually drove by my house and started laughing with Chad earlier this afternoon. Said, look, there's her dad. He drove over today. He's spending time, you know, with his baby girl. Those are the things that make me. But this is just a means for her to be able to do what she wants, and that's fine. You know, I don't expect them all to be as excited about that the way that I am. You know, that's why she was a staff accountant for 36 years.
Well, you're a great provider. I got chill bumps when you said that. You know, another thing I want to address, and I know, you know, Chad, you brought this up, and like, as much as I love social media, there's something like this weird stigma around real estate investing that I can't stand. Is you see these ads and you see these things, and maybe this isn't great for, you know, getting partners to say this, but I see so many, like, what they call gurus or something like that. And they're like, make quick money in real estate, right? Make easy money in real estate. Let me tell you guys something, is real estate investing is hard work. Those of you that are out there grinding for 12 hours a day, you're working really, really hard for yourself and your family. Here's the difference with real estate investing. Hopefully you'll love it more. And number two, we're going to talk about money here for a little bit. You tend to make more money for the hard work that you put in. So I don't mind working hard, right? I never had a problem with that. My dad was a mechanic, literally had the exact same job from the time he left the Army until he retired. Kind of like you were talking about, Jerry.
Yeah.
So my work ethic is there, but you just make more money in real estate investing. And I tend to like it. So, you know, I want to clear that up because maybe that brings full circle a little bit about what you guys are talking about. Let me look in the chat here. We've got some questions that I wanted to bring up. Ryan said,
Carol's got a question about struggles.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Can we talk to them about the struggles that they've encountered in their real estate journey? So yeah, let's take a few of those.
Sure. I mean, last week I put that post on Circle about, you know, I mean, we had a deal we thought worked. We put it on paper. When the realtors came back with the ARV, it didn't hit it. Takes the wind out of your sail, right? Because you thought it worked. We ran it. It didn't work. And like I said on that, I put the post out there. I mean, get a couple minutes to cry about it. And then we got right back on the phones and found another deal that night before we left work. That's a struggle. I mean, because not every deal comes to fruition. You know, they fall apart. Contractors, one of the reasons that we have our own construction firm is because we've been burned every way from Sunday. I mean, you know, you've got a payments guy and an accountant. I mean, we've done it long enough now that we pretty much know what every nail costs, but that wasn't the case. I mean, we've had, bad contractors just like anybody else. You know, and so I think the big key, and like you talk about those guys out on the web, and I see all make it quick, do this. What they're not telling you is it's a grind. You can make, the beauty of it is you can make as much as you want. But did you send out 500 mailers or none? Did you knock on 200 doors or none? Did you call 500 people or none? I mean, and so it's the law of averages. And you can say, well, I'm new at it. I don't know what to say. Well, you can figure that out. You can teach yourself what to say. You're going to teach them what to say. You can watch your training videos and it tells you just repeat it. It's rinse and repeat. I mean, you guys provide all of the possible material people need. But yeah, I mean, I think that's an early struggle that a lot of people have is they're excited about it because it looks fun. I'm going to get this house, I'm going to fix it, and it's going to be beautiful, and I'm going to get this nice family a home. And then all of a sudden you fall out and you go, wait a minute, where do I get that house? You know, and so, you know, we've gotten ourselves disciplined enough now that we know what it takes to get X amount of activities, to get X amount of leads, that X amount are going to fall through, and we're going to be able to hit our numbers.
Yeah, it's funny. We always talk about the numbers, but it is a numbers game.
100%.
It is. I think one of the things to talk about on the struggle, this is going to be typical to everybody. And Chad and I got into one of these early on when we were partnering up. And, you know, the first one that I did with him was a home run, and we made $100,000 and split it. And that gets you.
It's hard not to get the bug when you're splitting $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, but Julie, you know Chad, so you know how we deal with it. And I love him more than my brother. But he was down in the Bahamas with his wife, and he calls me, hey, Jerry, I got good news and bad news. I said, shit, give me the bad news. He said, I didn't get that paperwork signed in time.
We had an offer, it was like $15,000 off our ask.
And I was like, oh, geez. He said, hey, you want the good news? And I'm like trying to catch my breath. And I said, I guess, give me the good news. He said, the guy thought we were playing hardball and he offered 15,000 more. So we laugh at that, but then we get into this on the other side, and this is where you got to use partner driven. This has helped us more than anything. We've had people bringing us houses, and when you get in there and look at it, when you get an older home, I'm talking about 75 years and older home, you don't know what's behind there. And so Chad and I, we did a house where we were in it for about 4 months, and we didn't make a penny. Fortunately, we had some other jobs going. We made that guy, I mean, you know, we made good with that guy, but everything that you were taking apart was broke. And but we've put that in there now. We have change orders. We have, you know, limitations. You guys have that. You know, had we had that several years ago, you know, we would have got.
Didn't y'all just sell a house? I'm so just so everybody knows, I'm not on once the deal gets sold, I'm kind of out of it. I do more of like the renovations and that whole process. But didn't you guys end up selling the house that we turned down to do the flip on?
New Columbus? No, we did. No. You're talking. Are you talking about the one that we put under contract and just blew it out the back end? We didn't. We just.
Yeah, we hope that.
Yeah, we sold that. We just closed that.
Okay.
And that second one's getting ready to close. It's just. I mean, that's the beauty of this industry. And if you're passionate about it, you're going to always be passionate. So I mean, it doesn't matter.
There's more ways to make money than totally. Like I put it on my social media all the time. Do not have pride in thinking that you've got to completely renovate a house to make money. Right. But, you know, and I know you didn't make as much money as you wanted to necessarily on that one, but sometimes the best deals in this business are the ones you don't do.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, you know, like that, the house you're talking about, foundation problems, roof, all mechanicals on a side of town that's developing, but you know what? We blew it out. We each made a little bit of money. I mean, like I was joking with, might have been you there, might have been Peter, but guess what? My kids' fishing trips are paid for. I mean, is that as good as saying I just paid for my vacation? No. But you know what? We did. I mean, it was less than a month. They were really distressed properties that people had driven by for, I'd seen one for 15 years sitting there. And we figured out a way to make money on it. So, I mean, you know, if we would have tried to renovate that, we would have lost our shirts.
Yeah.
And luckily, I mean, you guys put the brakes on that one, but you still went through the deal.
Well, I was asking your opinion. This is me. I'm like, I see these pictures of this house because I just finished a renovation with these guys and it went beautifully, right? And I'm talking a full reno on this house, not like just some paint and carpet. I mean a full renovation, a full complete move the kitchen, put bathrooms in, move it.
Added a bath and a half.
But I'm looking at these pictures and I kind of was like, I didn't want to call him, but I called him and I'm like, dude, are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you really, really sure you want to do this? And he's like, no, not really. But you know, too, that's the cool thing about having like a partnership, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't really
Yes.
matter whether that's a partnership in business or anything, but it's all about collaboration.
Yes.
You know?
Well, I can tell you, Julie, I'll be honest with you. If you wouldn't have been there, we would have lost our shirt because I would have charged, got him excited. He's right there with me. And then we're 6 months in holding the bag, pissed at each other because we should have never done the deal. And but we got starry eyed because we got a great deal on it and we wanted a deal. So we're looking at it and you know what? We are, thank goodness you hit the brakes. We end up all making money. And if not, we would still be sitting back there.
And I think that's something that people need to know that are on here. That's a value when we're taking pictures and sending those pictures to you. You know, you're able to look at what we're looking at, but you also are looking at, hey, I've had one that looked like this, but underneath there, you know, what have you got? Or you know,
Well, and you know what's funny that you say that, Jerry? Here's the thing. You don't learn something like that in a book. You learn that because you've done it already before. And you sit up at night not being able to sleep, you know? And I even y'all see it on social media or whatever. You see somebody buying a house and it's literally a complete gut where you're putting in new electrical, new plumbing, new HVAC, everything. And they're like, oh, this could be done for $50,000. And I'm like, oh my God, please don't do it. You know, so partnering with somebody too while you're learning, or if you're seasoned, and sometimes for some people, it's not that it like they may be able to do 1 or 2 deals at a time, right? This is a way for someone to also scale to 3, 4, 5 at a time. So it's really, really for everybody.
Hey, Julie, there was a question, not to jump the gun on you, but
No, please.
I think this is one that we need to talk about because someone asked, like to hear more on lead generation system. 3K, how many leads? Did you see that question?
No, go for it.
And I think it's something, I talk to a lot of people on the platform. And deal driven is the system that is provided through partner driven that you can, it's a nominal fee and you can get access to all pre-foreclosures, tax sales, MLS expired, auction homes. So you can sort all kinds of different homes. You can search by zip code, state, nationally. The sky's the limit. So that's the tool. It's the tool that allows you to gather data. What that doesn't do for you is then contact that person. I see comments on it. Well, the phone number was bad. Well, you're skip tracing a national database, pulling numbers from everywhere, doing the best you can. Okay, so what do? First thing I do, okay, that didn't work. I Google. It's real easy. I search their name. I hit the treasurer's records, see if they're really in foreclosure, if I can get a number. I then go to social media, try to pin them down, you know, and then I use the email and the numbers. But I mean, the tool is there, but you still have to be willing to work. I mean, you have to have a tenacious attitude that I'm finding this person, you know, I'm going to find him. I found one the other day and I use social media. We had a common friend. I text my friend, say, I need to know this person. They send me a number, boom, we're talking. But if I just looked up and said, well, the database is pretty good, but the number's bad. Well, the database is a piece, you know, and same with your marketing. You can do it a lot. I mean, there's a direct mail function, and you guys give templates. It walks you through. You don't be creative. You just push the button. But if you're not willing to pay for marketing, or if you're not willing to follow up with the leads if they call you, you can't blame that on the tool. I mean, there's endless tools there, but you have to be committed to using them. And it's not just using them, it's going above and beyond. Okay, who do I know this person knows? How do I find this number? I mean, and that's kind of the level of, so it addresses the lead generation. The tools are there. You can slice and dice data through deal driven any way you want. If you want to put pre-foreclosures in this zip code that also have out-of-state owners, okay, you can do that. That's easy. But you have to be willing to take the tool and then, somewhat of a detective, right? If it's not right there for you, if you want the deal, figure it out.
And I was going to see if you kind of felt this way a little bit. I think a lot of people get into this business with the idea of, let me see if I could be successful in this. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what tends to have individuals not put so much effort into things or not believe in it, because I think it's more of a belief of their success. And that's the reason why somebody's not putting it all in. Right. And as much as I love to talk about feelings and all of that, what is possible for somebody, like legitimately, what is possible for somebody who goes out there and does everything you guys are telling them to do, right? Like what financially might be possible for somebody that just has no idea? Because I think it's a fear, a manifestation of a fear that I may not want to try this, or I may blame that my marketing's not working, or I may give up after a week. What's possible?
I would say realistic, unless you cut the safety net. You got to cut the safety net, but if you don't cut the safety net, you're probably going to be close to 70,000 a year. I think one of the reasons our numbers are much higher than that is we don't have a safety net. So, we got to go do it. We got to go find it. We got to make a deal happen. And so every deal, Chad's got the greatest saying in the world with this, and we live by it, is every deal's not a home run. Sometimes, we can live with a bunt and a single to keep us running, because, you got big payroll too, to people got to be paid, but, we want to take money home and what we're doing. So you got to cut the safety net. You're walking across, you got to believe in it. And you're probably, if you do that, you're going to be closer to 180 to 200,000 the first year.
I'd say the sky's the limit. I mean, it's as much time and effort as you want to put in it. Where I see people get hung up a lot is, what if they ask me about this? Who cares? You tell them this. Like, you call them, I see your home's going up for foreclosure. Do you want to lose it? Well, no, I don't want to lose it, but I'm really at my wit's end. Okay, well, you're not at your wit's end because we have a little bit of time. We help people in foreclosure get out of this pickle. It's really that simple. Like, everybody asks, what's a script? Well, you're in trouble, and I'm calling you about it. So that's the script. Okay, we've established that. But then people say, what if they ask me about deed in lieu? You say this, hey, we're not even to that point. I'll go back to my team and talk about strategy. Right now, I want to know, are you in trouble? Do you want help? And if I get you this contract, we agree to let me help you. That's it. Well, what if I don't care what they ask you about. We're not going to talk about that yet. We're talking about this. It's real easy. You don't have to know anything. Then you get, one of the resources, you guys, us, somebody. Then if we start getting in more complex questions, there's a whole community that can help you. But It's really easy to ask, are you in trouble? Do you need help? If you can't ask that, you should hop off this call now, by the way. I'm not trying to be rude, but I mean, and so the sky's the limit. If you can ask those two questions and you're willing to put the effort in, whether it's knocking, mailers, social media, I mean, more is more. No matter what you're doing. But I think the sky's the limit. You know that. I mean, you've got partners that are absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got partners that make $70,000 to $100,000 a month.
Right.
So I mean, it is, the sky's the limit. But I mean, to do it at that level, you've got a lot. There's a lot that goes into something like that. What I would like, is it okay with you guys? You guys have another 15 minutes. And by the way, I appreciate your guys' time. It is really means a lot to me that you showed up to talk to individuals here. By the way, David, if somebody wants to schedule a call to become one of our partners, how would somebody do that before
Yeah,
we start taking
absolutely.
questions?
So we'll make sure that we drop a link in the chat. So if you guys are looking in the chat, make sure to click on that link, book a call with us. Let's have the conversation. Let's make sure that it makes sense from both sides of the ball to team up and start doing some deals together.
Yes. And listen, these guys know what they're doing. So, and they've talked to me all the time. Would it be okay if we would allow people to get on live with you guys and ask
Sure.
questions?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't
Yeah, of
ask
course.
them to do this ahead of time. I'm real good at just throwing people off the ledge and being like, hey,
I mean,
but I know that we're good enough.
we talk to several people a week that watch our video clips and reach out to us and say, you got a couple minutes. And we've never told anybody no. I mean,
Yeah, thank you for that.
and just because, I mean, like I said, it was a post I put out the other day, and I said, yeah, we've been doing it longer, so you're the teacher, I guess, the expert. But I very rarely get off a call where I don't learn something. It could be the greenest, most novice, but they've got this raw question that you hadn't. And so, I mean, it's not just that we want to, and we're being selfish too because we're learning things that we might not think about. And
well, that's this business. If you think you know everything about this business, then you are wrong because we all learn something new every day, right? David, so how is this going to work? I'm going to take myself off camera. I'm going to be here, but can you facilitate getting these questions and getting them on live with Chad and Gary?
Absolutely. So if you guys look at the bottom of your screen, there's a react button. You can click the raise hand feature to come on live with us and ask some questions. But Chad, Jerry, while people are doing that,
Sure.
while we're waiting on some people to raise their hand to ask those questions, I want to kind of take the first question. A lot of these people on this call are not partners. If you could kind of go back to that before partner stage that you guys were at, what's one thing that you would kind of tell yourself? What's one bit of advice that you would give yourself before you got started doing some deals with Peter and Julie?
The very first thing I would ask myself is, am I happy with where I'm at? And if I'm not, and I'm looking at something, then this will be it, because this came to us, and I looked at it for 4 or 5 months before I jumped on it, and but we had a lot of stuff that was going. We were familiar with it, but there were some opportunities not to always be putting our own money up, and so yeah, that's it right there.
I mean, I think you gotta ask yourself and really soul search as to your commitment level. So here's a really easy. I work a full-time job. I get home I'm exhausted. Okay, well, that's going to be tough. Then are you putting in the weekends? Are you saying, like, I just had a conversation with a new member Saturday, and I've spoken to her the last several Saturdays, and I asked the same thing. How many contacts did you make this week? Because this particular member works in the medical field. Just give me a number. You've got time after work, you've got a lunch, and you've got the weekends. And then as that builds up, maybe that full-time gig scales back, and or if you're someone at a point in your life that you can just jump in, it's still the same question. How committed am I? I really soul search. Am I committed to getting in here? Listen to these guys. I mean, these are guys that we've got a fairly good sized business. I mean, we've talked about that, and we've both been entrepreneurs. It's not like we're, we weren't just trying to find a way to put the next meal on the table. So, why did we join PD? Because Jerry, I was probably more the holdout than him. He kept coming to me. I'm like, we're already doing this, man. And then as we got to know the community, I mean, I'm extremely glad that we've joined. And I think the biggest thing is, you have to ask yourself, level of commitment, and am I in it to really do this? And if you are, dude, you can kill it. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing for a living right now. I don't care what your education level is. I don't care what any part of the situation is. If you're committed to learning through tools that are given to you, and you guys provide a ton, but are you watching the videos? And some say, well, I learned better by, okay, well then are you talking to other members? Because they'll talk to you. Like, you could call other members, they're live people, and a matter of fact, like, what is ARV? pretty fundamental question, but you know what? That's all right. Let's talk through that. What is it? And so if you're committed to putting the work in, both using the educational tools, leveraging the community, and putting the work in, committing to your bit, then I mean, sky's the limit, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it kind of goes back to that why, right? Why do you want to do this? And is it a big enough reason to put the work in that you need to succeed? So absolutely 100% agree with you. But it looks like we've got a couple hands raised. So I believe it's Saul we have up first. If you want to come off mute and ask your question. Hope I pronounced that right as well.
Yes, hi. My name is Shaul. My question is, okay, let's say you presented some deals and one deal was accepted and made an offer and you got it. So how does the partnership works after that? Like you are involved in the process? Are they doing everything? How much are you
Yeah,
involved?
that's a good question.
And if there is disagreements about the strategy, how do you guys solve it?
Right, it's a good question. So the process works like this: you find a deal, and it meets. I mean, they will PD will get creative, but they've got a pretty they've got a structured buy box of what fits their deals. It is what it is. I mean, if it doesn't fit the deal, then go find another deal. Then you go out and you get with your realtors to confirm ARV, and at that point, that's where you can leverage the resources. There's also members everywhere, so like we do a lot of local deals, but we have construction crews here. We've been doing this for a long time. But a lot of people are doing deals all over the place. At that point, you need to leverage the community because you got to find contractors. Are they trustworthy? And then it's going to come back through Julie and her group. If you come back with a house that needs a roof, all mechanicals and a foundation fixed, and your budget's 30,000, once she probably stops laughing, she's going to come back and say that's not realistic. This is the red flag, and so you'll work with them to work with contractors, get your bids in, vet the bids properly, and then at that point, you will have responsibility to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I mean, are you if it's local, are you driving it? Are you looking at it? If it's not local, are you getting pictures before everything goes out? Are you having a realtor that's local that's going to sell the deal for you? If they know they're going to sell it, they'll check on it because they want it done on time. And that's all stuff that you can throw these specific examples out to the group, and typically somebody's seen it. If it's not the PD staff, it's one of the members. And so that's kind of how it works.
Okay, I see. So you are basically managing the project in a way as well, because they said that they sending a team sometimes, or they have local crew that.
Yeah, they work with national companies that they work with all over. And if they have one in that location, for sure, they can send them in. And it's a company that PD works with, for sure.
Okay. And what tools they have that they give you to use or teach you that help you to find deals, basically?
Sure. First of all, there's a whole video library. It's a university. You need to watch the videos. There's onboarding, there's training, there's the art of wholesaling, the art of fix and flip, you can watch, the breadth is wide. If you name a topic, you can find a video on it. And so, and then obviously the deal-driven databases, that's where you actually go out and look at actual properties. I drove by this house at 1515 Main Street. It looks vacant. How do I figure out who owns it? You type in deal driven and it spits out the owner for you and the phone numbers and the emails. They're not always accurate. That's why I'm saying you got to be a detective too. But I mean, there are ample tools there to help you identify the deals, find the contacts, and then go get it done.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Question. TV puts his last question.
I will.
Great question. Great question. Grant, thanks for joining us tonight. Looks like we got you up next. If you want to come off mute and go ahead and ask your question for Jerry and Chad.
Hello, thank you for your time tonight. Actually, it's already been answered, so I really don't have a question anymore. But I guess one thing that does pop up is, have you had any success in with auctions? And when you do, how did you approach that?
We we don't do anything with auctions, and so um, I can let Partner Driven kind of address their approach to auctions. Um, but we don't personally. I mean, I look at all the auction sites, but here's how I use them. I don't want to get in a bidding war. Just like um, we deal with a lot of wholesalers, and there's ways you have to deal with them. But I use the auction sites as prospect databases. It tells you someone's home's going for sale, right? So I just find that person's number and call them. Hey man, I see your home's getting ready to get auctioned. Would you like to get out of the situation ahead of time? Tell me what you need. Typically, when it's at that point, they're pretty honest, right? I mean, they're getting ready to have people start bidding on a home. And so we don't do a lot at auctions, but we do use them as prospect databases. We see houses out there that pop up. We start driving them, trying to figure out, who the owners are, using deal driven to find and try to get to those owners and figure out what the situation is and what it would take to rectify it before, because there's an emotional reaction to watching your home being auctioned. And so, we've found that if we can get to you ahead of time, and we know there's a pain point. So if we can talk about the pain point, find the solution, we use those more as prospect databases for us.
Thank you. One follow up. So for foreclosures and things of that nature where there's a lot of emotion involved, was there any point in time where it didn't look like the deal was going to happen, right? They were getting angry, frustrated, but is there any point in time where did they ever contact you? Do you make such a statement on them that they actually reach back out to you, or can you
I mean,
share
I've got
something?
one right now. I've got one right now, and not necessarily back out to me. They're going to go through the 5 stages of grief, right? I mean, other than a divorce, it's the biggest breakup you could ever experience is losing your primary property. So yeah, I mean, we approach it as a very emotional situation. Um, we've got one right now that was, or it's been a while back, but and this is a weird situation, but I put a video out there. It was a wholesaler that we've worked with over the years, and we're friends. And they had been working this lead, but it was getting closer to the auction time or the foreclosure time. So she finally reached out, and I've done this before. And she said, "Hey, man, I can't get this in the boat. This is not going to happen right on the bat. I don't want people to say, oh, it's not. We've worked with these people for years. I can't get it in the boat. Do you want to take a crack at it if I send you the information and then kick me a referral fee?" Yeah, absolutely. And I got it. I got it signed. And so, I mean, that's an odd situation. But yeah, I mean, this particular situation, after I talked to the client, I realized that I approach it a little differently because I know that obviously there's something that's gone wrong. Let's talk about it. I'm sure it's the reason that the wholesaler didn't get it was they weren't emotionally catering to what this client needed. And it doesn't mean that I couldn't do a deal where I'm not the fit and she may be the fit. But in that particular instance, it's two people calling the same lead, one getting in late to the game, but for whatever reason, you were able to navigate and this is a situation where there's a grown son and his a wife living in the home. So it's complex because now you're looking at having to evict your adult son. And so this was a complex situation, but
Right. And you could have been, they already wounded and you came in and healed them essentially because the wholesaler wounded them. You come in and healed them. So that's
yeah, I
also,
mean,
that's how complex that can get.
You're right. And those type of leads are great leads because, yeah, I mean, if you come in and tell them you're losing your house, I mean, you better make a decision. Okay, well, those are facts they already know. That's you don't need to tell them that. It's like pulling up to a car wreck and say, "Hey, man, you wrecked your car." Really? I don't. So what's the situation? Well, my adult son and his wife are living here. They've, filthied up the house, so I ended up having to go move out, and now I'm just at a point I've thrown my hands up at it because as a parent, I feel like something went wrong. I got 3 kids. my kids do plenty wrong. So we started talking through it and the emotion with it and ended up getting it done. So, yeah, there's a lot of that goes into it more so than just, it's how you approach people and understand people that, can make your business incrementally grow.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great question, Grant. Appreciate you guys answering that, Jerry and Chad. And a lot of times, Julie, I know we were talking about it not a week or two ago when you're working these pre-foreclosures, coming from a compassionate, true place, when you're talking to these sellers, it can mean the world from them. Because if not, they can sense it from a mile away.
Yeah. I mean,
So
for me, pre-foreclosures are actually my favorite lead source because I truly, truly hate to see people lose their home back to the bank for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Especially when we can make it a win-win for somebody, just like he was talking about. And he's so right. There's a difference between feeling sorry for somebody and being empathetic, right? Nobody, they know what situation that they're in. How am I going to help you get out of that? And like, if I was, we don't have time for it tonight, but probably 60% of the pre-foreclosures in your area have 35% equity or more. And I know those numbers because I've pulled that many lists across the country. And what's going to happen is every bit of that equity is going to be eaten up by that bank and late fees, attorneys' fees, and because they don't want to pay people back.
Board up fees.
Yes, exactly. So we can come in, buy their home prior to them losing it back to the bank and put a little bit of money back into their pocket so they're able to move on to the next stage of their life. And one thing about auctions that I want to mention, we do not do auctions, not because I think they're terrible, because of due diligence. I can't just buy a house without the due diligence. Meaning we can't make an on-the-spot decision because we're going to get bids, we're going to get home inspection to make sure we're not making a poor decision. So that's one reason why we don't do auctions. But by the way, it's very, very easy, like on Deal Driven, like he said, to be able to go in, pull pre-foreclosures in your area. As soon as the notice of default or list pendants comes out, you'll know that day. It comes out the same day of the month in your state. So you'll be able to pull those, skip trace them so that you can find those owners.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. And we're creeping up on our time here. So we've got one last question from Dan. If you want to come off mute and ask away.
Can you hear me? I think.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Julie, thank you as well for handling this, and yourself, David. Really do appreciate you guys' time. I'm back into the business actually as a couple of years ago. Working foreclosures is one of my fortes. I've done it since 2003. And the biggest, I do have a question on lead generation is my primary thing. But as far as pre-foreclosures, you guys were talking about, the vast majority of people, they don't want to sell. They have to sell. And when you get run across that diamond in the rough that people decide to make that sale, you've got to go through so many of them. And the competition today is significantly fierce compared to 2003.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the vast majority of people, let's be frank here, they're going to get an agent to get the most market value they can out of the home. And everybody's got an agent friend. I don't care who you talk to. They all got an agent friend. I've been knocking on doors again for the past year and a half. And, the biggest objection I get on it is, oh, we've taken care of it. Oh, great.
Yeah.
So you've received the notice of rescission.
Yeah. Usually
Then
no.
they shut up and they go, oh, what's that? Notice of rescission. So that's kind of one assistance to gentleman had a question on here before. That's what you're going to get the most part of the time is we've taken care of it. So if they've taken care of it, then the trustees sent them a notice of rescission and ask them if they've gotten that. Then you keep your foot in the door and then you can continue on to help resolve their problem, and they'll never forget you because they want to work with the person that helped them out. If you had a $50,000 lead advantage, what would you guys do if you had an opportunity to spend some money? Because inbound is significantly better than reaching out, cold calling. I've tried that too. And it is, especially in California, I work in all of Southern California, incredibly challenging because of massive wholesalers. Would you try to run a little PPC campaign and try to touch at that for a good period of time? I use direct mailers. Direct mailers, 50 cents a whack or more is expensive. What would you do?
So we just had this meeting actually yesterday. We've got our web guy right now putting together a PPC campaign for us. So we're going to start putting some money into to pay-per-clicks. I think there's value there. But if you get on, so Partner Driven has its own closed social media network called Circle. It's where all the members can get on there and talk. There are a lot of people right now seeing a resurgence in direct mail and having success. And if you, I can walk you through story. So we actually just talked today about this. We're going to start some very targeted direct mail campaigns. But I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, so right now we are getting ready to put some money into it. I know the pay-per-click game because I had an e-commerce platform at one point. I was somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000 a month in pay-per-clicks back in the day before Google was changing algorithms, which was your SEO side. But we did and all the black hat SEO stuff. But yeah, I think right now, I think first of all, more is more. You just got to be good at it and measure it. So, I mean, if you ask me if I had $50,000, I'm just going to stand up like this and go like that and throw it against the wall. I'd tell you to go buy a sports car. But no matter which campaign you choose, because there are people in the community doing all of them and that are good at them. The ones that have caught my attention the most lately, and we had already started with our putting together some of our paid ad campaigns, the direct mail and very targeted, leverage the people that are having success, but there's tons of them right now in the community having success. That's kind of, we talk about, Dave, that's what we're going to put some bucks into right now. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Sure.
It just driving for dollars, knocking on doors and all that other good stuff. I'm getting people home. I leave even little yellow stickies. Please call me. I have a question about your house. Little yellow sticky. Or I'll use a paper plate. I'll write on a old paper plate, fold it up, put it in their door. Please call me. I have a question about your house. I'll get periodic calls and stuff and returns, but it's just not very efficient. So if you had a little bit of money, I mean, the big guys in this money that are in this business that are making any real money, $500,000 or a couple $100,000 a month are spending big money. So we essentially got to be great marketers. At the end of the day, when you have a partner like Partner Driven and they're partnering with you, coming up with the funds, that's phenomenal. But getting the deals to the door, getting the deals to the desk, what's the most efficient way if you had some money? So you answered it. It's nothing real different than what I've heard.
We know a guy here local. I'll be honest with you. I mean, no matter what you do, get good at it. And so we have a guy here we know locally that puts the signs up. We buy houses.
Yeah. It all works. You just do it all.
Right. And that's, if you're looking for a low cost way to get the word out there, it takes a stapler, Yep. And so there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. And I mean, obviously the bigger your budget and the more committed towards inbound leads you are, and better you get at it. I mean, but if you're just starting out, I mean, sticking a sign on a telephone pole or in the, not hard, not expensive, and so there are a lot of ways to approach it.
Appreciate it. You guys answered my question. Thank you.
Yep, for sure.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dan. It's a great question. And Julie says it all the time. We talked about it before, real estate, you're really a marketing company that does real estate, right? And you have to look at whether you have more time than money or more money than time to kind of determine what the best strategy is. But exactly like they were talking about, we've got a lot of partners that do both different ways or a mixture of all of it. So it's finding that right mix for you. But one thing I did want to mention, there's been a couple times today, Jerry and Chad have mentioned our Circle community. It's our closed platform for our partners where they can network, they can talk, they can ask questions and interact with us. We actually also have a free open to the public version. It doesn't have our partners in it. It's just for people like you all that are making those first steps, getting started with us. That link is in the chat. So anybody in here that wants to click that link, join that community, kind of get a taste of what it's like, kind of what they're referring to when they're talking about that Circle community with our partners. Please feel free to join that. It's an awesome place. Julie, I know you're active in there all the time, answering people's questions, interacting with people. So if you do have any questions that you think of after the Zoom or tomorrow morning, it's a great place to post them so that somebody like Julie can hop in there and answer those questions.
Yeah, and also I'd like to mention not only is it a community, but inside of this free community, I've given a couple hours of free training. So for those of you that are like, you know, because a lot tonight, Jerry, Chad, and myself just talked about commitment. Okay. Partner driven is not, nor should you do anything unless you're fully committed to something, because nothing in life worth having comes easy. Okay. But if you're sitting there going, well, I don't know if real estate investing is right for me, then maybe like joining that free community, doing some of that training will kind of answer some of those questions for you, right? Because I don't see the need for anybody to throw money at the wall for no reason. So I would like to offer that. What David's saying tonight is free training. I literally give a pre-foreclosure training and how to find those deals in there. So we would love to have you guys join that free community. If you just click that link, you'll get invited immediately. And even tonight, you can go through that training this evening. If you would want to do that. But we'll be ending tonight. But one thing I would like to say is thank you so very much, Jerry and Chad, for joining us, giving honest discussions with people tonight. I know you could be a lot of places on a Tuesday night at 7:15 your time. So I am truly grateful for you being on here. And so if y'all don't mind, give some love in the chat to Chad and Jerry for spending. They're not getting paid to do this. I've not even sent them a coffee mug or anything. So if you will, thank them for that. So without further ado, I appreciate you guys. You are one of the reasons that we started this company, and you're the exact relationships that I'm glad to be a part of. So thank you guys very, very much. And do you have any final words to give anybody tonight?
Sure. I just say best wishes to everybody. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're available.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you guys for all the chat love. That means a lot. I appreciate it. Final words are, I don't know, none, all, which ones you guys decide to, be involved in real estate or be a partner with Partner Driven, but hopefully all of you, but at least some of you hopefully would figure out that you truly are passionate about real estate and, take the leap.
Absolutely. Jerry, Chad, Julie, thank you so much for your time, everybody. We appreciate you joining us tonight. We ran a little long, but that's what happens when you're having fun. So everybody enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure if you haven't already, click the link in the chat to schedule a call. Join the Free Circle community. Until next time, we'll see you all later and have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.